Imagine going away to Click City and having to sit down for 2 years, and your manager, who is supposed to be handling your business, is handling everybody else's business and is so deep in your personal business that he is focused on where your baby mama Punana been, who been up in it, and what came out of it. He's even dragging your child through the mud instead of dragging these court cases through the mud. We talking about Wack 100 and Blueface, of course, y'all, because Wack sat down a couple days ago with Vlad TV. And in one of the clips that Vlad put out there, Wack is speaking on the Jackie Martinez case. And he said that they are going to be spinning the block on a bunch of these cases. But my question is, why wasn't the business handled from the jump? Was it all a setup? Because Blueface was non-compliant. Dun dun dun. The bar is open, y'all. Let's pour it up.
Big poppin', money in the bank coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me big poppin'. Money in the bank coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me what the topic.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your favorite goss and doctender, ThatGirlHenny. And if you are new here, let me just say, welcome. Please be sure to like, comment, and of course, subscribe. Click that notification bell, select all so that you get notified whenever I do a video. And if you are a returning Mob Down Henny Gang member, yeah. Now let's get into this hot Henny. Now, as I said in the intro, Wack 100 sat with Vlad TV recently, and Vlad asked Wack about the Jacqueline Martinez case. Now, if you don't know about the Jacqueline Martinez case, baby, I don't know where you've been, because I've been covering it. So y'all could go and y'all could check out the playlist that I have on Blueface. Yeah, because I broke those court docs down and even was tallying things up. And so let me just give you a little synopsis of things in case you are behind or you need a refresher. Soulja Boy and Blueface were on a live and they were going back and forth. And during the back and forth that they were going through, Blueface made some allegations that he had slept with Soulja Boy's baby mama, Jackie Martinez, and made claims that he got a little DNA on Soulja Boy's baby and that it was possibly his son. Well, Jackie was not going to sit back and allow this to happen. Oh, no. So she decided that she was going to slap Blueface with a cease and desist, which he ignored. And then she followed through with a lawsuit for defamation. Yep. And this case went on while he was in prison. Now, the kicker to all of this is there were court docs that were flying out before he went to prison and after he came home from prison. But you know, duty shooter, he gonna shoot some doot all over everything. But without any further ado, don't just take my word for it. Let's get up into all of the hot Henny of Wack on Vlad talking about this situation. And of course, you know how I'm going to do. I'm going to call out all of the felonious, fugazi shit that gets said in this video.
Blueface, is it true that his music royalties were seized over the lawsuit with Soulja Boy's baby mother?
That's what they're saying.
Let's stop right there, because the way Wack is saying this, he's saying it as if nobody ever knew about this, or that it's just something that people grabbed from out the crack of their booty hole. Yeah, I'm not going to be censored today at all. So let me just remind y'all, this is actual litigation. So this is not a matter of hearsay or he say, she say, they say. No, the court said, baby. And this was filed on December 22nd of 2023, right before Blueface had to go turn himself into Click City the following month in January. So it's not a rumor, baby. It's fact, never fiction. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's let Duty Shooter continue. I don't know why they like to play with me. Do you?
I don't know if maybe I called my attorney the other day. He's looked into it. He's going to end up back in court because Blueface never had his day in court.
Now pause right there. You called your attorney the other day. Interesting, because Blueface has been home since November 4th, going on 90 days in 2 days from the day of this video. You're just now having your lawyer look into this, and this has been going on since 2023. Sir, where were the lawyers at when this case was first dropped and while Blueface was incarcerated? Because you know, an attorney can appear on behalf of their client if their client is unable to do so. I'm just saying, let's continue.
This is the thing. It's defamation and slander.
So he's saying the defamation is slander. Well, let's go back to what I was saying a few minutes ago about him saying, you know, he was incarcerated, trying to make it seem as if Blueface had no idea that this was even going on, which would be felonious and fugazi. This is a duty shoot. Okay. So as I scroll down, I'm going to slow down just a little bit for y'all, so y'all can see for yourselves that when this case was filed, that it actually went to the places that it was supposed to go to, because there's something that has to be served that is proof of service. Yeah. So there is a proof of service that went out about this case at some point in time. But being that there is a lot of paperwork to this case, I will tell you this. There is proof of service of this original case. There is proof of service of every piece of document that was drawn up, every proceeding that was had, and the proof of service was sent to not only Blueface's home, but it was also sent to the prison where he was at. So there is absolutely no way in the world that Blueface didn't have any idea that this court case was going on, because he was being notified and his father was staying at the home. Yeah, his dad was in the house. So I'm quite sure his dad called Wack at some point in time and said something to him, or told his mother, Carlissa, that there was a mail that was coming there legally, or he told him himself. Either way, this was not a case that blindsided either one of them, just so you know.
His cell phone says there's no defamation or no slander.
Yeah, I remember I brought this up in our interview.
Yeah,
and he was like, yeah, we had sex, but they're just saying it was on a different date than what I claimed, but we had sex, so I don't understand what the problem is.
I fucked her. Like, just a sore loser. They're trying to make a lawsuit based off of the time frame that I said I fucked her. They're trying to say, oh, you didn't fuck her on this day,
so we're suing you
we're suing you for saying you fucked her on this day, even though you did it.
So here's the thing. When it comes down to defamation, that is defamation. Now, the problem is for Jackie, it was never about him saying that they actually had smex together, okay? She's not saying she never had smex with him. She admitted that they had a smexual relationship in the court documents. The problem that she had was what Blueface said about her child's paternity, okay? And how he said it. So the fact that he was sitting there saying that he was the biological father to her and Soldier Boy's son, he implied that Jackie had been lying about who the father was. And that's basically what the defamation was. Okay. Now, underneath California law, a statement of defamatory is false, presented as facts, published to others, and harmful to the reputation, which all of this falls underneath, because the false statement was him claiming to be her son's father. Okay. He presented it as a fact. He didn't frame it as, I think I'm the father, I could possibly be the father. He inserted it like, yo, I put DNA in there. So you're still going on like there was something that actually happened. The published it to others was because the communication happened online, duh. And the harmfulness to the reputation was that it casted a dishonest shadow over Jackie about her child's paternity. And as far as Wack saying that she won the case because Blueface was in jail, she did get a default judgment. Okay. But the paperwork was properly served in the lawsuit, and they failed to respond or appear in court. Period. Okay. So at the end of the day, there was nothing felonious about that. And before people want to be like, oh, Henny, why you're not putting that on the screen? Let me just go ahead for them people in the back who want to see for themselves. All right, let's see. Let's get up in here. Hold on. All right, this is what he said. Okay, this was the defamatory statement. This is what she's claiming was defamatory. That he said, because I effed your baby mama the day before your baby shower. The baby shower took place on June 11, 2022, and the plaintiff was 6 months pregnant at the time. Then Blueface went on to say, till Soldier get a DNA test, that's my child, little bro. I'm the daddy now. Then he says, what's old about your baby mama giving me mouth mop? Soldier, the father of the plaintiff's baby, kissing Peen every time he sees his child. Crying, laughing emojis were put up when he said that. And that's the defamatory statement. And it says it right here. Defamatory statements are false. Plaintiff had protected sexual intercourse only one time with the defendant years ago in 2018. The plaintiff has not had any interaction with the defendant since 2018. Plaintiff has not engaged in any sexual activity or conduct of any kind with the defendant. Plaintiff has never engaged in oral sex with the defendant at any time. The plaintiff did not engage in any sexual activity or conduct with the defendant the day before her baby shower or while she was pregnant. Plaintiff did not engage in any sexual activity or conduct with the defendant at any time while she was dating DeAndre Cortez Way, aka Soldier Boy. There is zero chance that the defendant is the plaintiff's child's biological father. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the defamation that Wack is trying to step around. Now, here's a little something that I also want to bring to your attention that I called out a long time ago when we first were reporting on this case. Blueface was served at his restaurant by Jackie. So he was served. So he knew that there was a court case. Okay. And I'll save the rest of it for a little later on. But for now, let's get back into what Wack had to say while he was talking to Vlad.
He just never went to court. She didn't win because he was lying.
Oh, so
he was
never
in
went to
prison.
court. Okay,
So the attorney's gonna get us back in court.
Same as
she won because nobody showed up to court. Nobody wrote the court. Nobody said anything to the court. Y'all just ignored it. Okay?
Game, basically.
Yeah, the attorney's gonna get a little dip. Yeah, the attorney's gonna get it back in court. But
okay.
Now, here's the thing. With Blueface being served before and notice of all of this stuff that was going on in the court case, like the court case continued rolling on all the way up until he was released from prison. Okay? He was released November 4th. So let me go ahead and let me bring this document up to the screen so y'all can see for yourselves that when the judge granted the royalties to her, like they probably shrugged this off like it was going to be nothing. But December 9th is when they were in court last. And this is when Jackie was granted let me go back for a second. Hold on. Sorry. Jackie filed this motion right here for assistance to be able to get Blueface's royalties and restrain anyone from being able to prevent her from collecting the said royalties. Now, she filed this on October 16th of 2025. Okay. Her lawyer submitted this to the courts. This is dated. When was this dated? October 16th of 2025. So Blueface was not home yet when this happened, but Blueface was for sure home when the judge granted her motion for her to be able to obtain his royalties. Now, here's a question for you. If I'm your manager, right? I'm your music manager, and I make a percentage off of everything that you do, and this woman is coming for your royalties, why wouldn't I make sure that all T's are crossed and all I's are dotted when it comes down to making sure that nothing happens with the money. We watched something very similar happen with the game where he was trying to like shuffle stuff around through the shell companies and take his home and all that other stuff and put it in his name and move it here and move it there until Priscilla Rainey had to go to court and have the courts put something in place for them to put everything back the way that it was. So because of that case and because of the people that the game was dealing with are the same people that Blueface is dealing with, clearly Jackie was watching and made sure that this wasn't going to be able to happen with her case. Now, the sad part about all of this is Wack at one point in time had lawyers on Blueface's case, but pulled the lawyers back. That's how he lost the case in Las Vegas to the nightclub, because Wack pulled the lawyer back. There was a lawyer that was showing up, and then all of a sudden the lawyer just didn't show up anymore. And if you go back and dig through my archives, I already showed you that there is a case where lawyers are suing Wack for not paying them for the game's court case. So my question, listening to all of this, and we're not done, we're going to get back into it, but my question that I want you guys to think about and answer for me down in the comment section is this a setup for him to fail? Because at one point in time, Wack was highly upset with Blueface because Blueface was making money with Chrisean. While they try to play it off like they weren't making any kind of money, child, Chrisean's net worth went up to $2 million. And when she was put out of Blueface's house, when he put her out while she was pregnant, he kept all of her money. There's an episode of Crazy in Love where he's telling her, you came with nothing and you'll leave with nothing. And she had to start all over again. Meanwhile, Wack was not privy to any of that income that was coming in. He hated the fact that Blue was with Chrisean. He hated it with a passion. And so Blue every time would go back to Chrisean. How many of y'all think that this is punishment for Blue not listening to Wack, not obeying what Wack told him to do? How many of y'all think that? I'm just asking questions. I'm not making accusations. I'm asking questions.
Everything's on his phone, bro. She's in his videos and everything.
Okay.
Now, the videos that Wack is referring to is a music video that happened way back when, around the time that Jackie admits that she slept with Blueface. Now, as far as them opening up this case again, it's possible, but it's difficult and it's also time sensitive. What we're going to be watching over here at That Girl Henny Reviews, me and Henny Legal, we're going to be looking for the motion to set aside default, okay? Now, his grounds, they may work. He may be able to say that he wasn't properly served, but there's so many proofs of him being served that it's not even funny. Okay. He could try to say that he was incarcerated. And he could try to show a legitimate procedural issue. But he can't go in there and say he disagrees with the judge and that he didn't know and he didn't know he needed to show up and he thought his manager would handle. He can't go in there and say any of that stuff, okay? He could try to appeal it, but appeals don't usually overturn default judgments. But what he can do, and what would be the most practical for him to do, is to try to negotiate, okay? Try to negotiate a payment plan with Jackie. Try to settle the debt so that she could stop taking his royalties. But at the end of the day, him getting this case completely thrown out, yeah, it's not looking like that's something that's just going to happen magically 1, 2, 3, especially being that there's so much evidence that he knew about this damn case.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we got to get back in court on a few of them. So I just literally was on the phone all last week with that. Today, I signed a couple fight contracts for him for him to get back in the ring. We closed down this music contract.
Told you, boy.
So they're going to get into Blueface possibly knuckling up with Soulja Boy. Now, honestly, I don't see that happening. And after Flo Malcolm, if you missed the interview, please go back to the channel and watch it, came on and said that he had already knucked and bucked Blueface down in prison. There's also record of that. Yeah. I don't know. I would rather see, I don't want to see Blueface fight Soulja Boy. I want to see Blueface fight Flo Malcolm. I want to see Blueface fight Bompton Giuno. I want to see him fight Big Sad. Like, let's get in the boxing ring with people that actually want to get in the boxing ring with you, that got some beefs with you that are going on, because that's going to make for good entertainment, especially being that they've already called it out. And in fact, Blueface did tell Bompton Giuno he could catch the fade. Yeah, because Bompton Giuno had been calling him out for so long. So why go for Soulja Boy when you got so many other people that are lined up? And I haven't heard Soulja say that he wanted to fight him. But anyway, at the end of the day, the behaviors and actions of Wack, they shouldn't surprise us at all. But it just feels like we've been saying for a very long time, looking into everybody that has been underneath his thumb, nobody has ever been successful under the thumb of Wack 100. In fact, the ones that had any type of glimmer of success all seem to end up with some type of court case that was threatening to take away a lot of the stuff that they had. The game ended up being drug out for years, of course, because of the shell companies and masterminding of Wack to try to play keep away with the money. But in the end, Priscilla Rainey won her case. No matter how many times he tried to go back and forth to court, the fact of the matter is that house, bye-bye. Blueface has a lien on his house. He has debt in the sums of multiple millions of dollars. Now, the last time we tallied it up, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was in the 18 millions. Homeboy is probably pressing upon 19, 20 million by now. Who knows? Because what you've got to remember is that nightclub is accruing $4,000 in interest a day. Jackie's case is accruing interest at $33.77 a day. But then there's Kentavious Trailer. That's the guy who got pumed in the hand, and he won $1 million suit, and he's collecting about 200 and change every day as well. That's why his debt is so big. Now, Wack is saying that he's going to spend the block on all of these things, but it's looking really bleak for him being able to get any of this stuff reversed. And at this point in time, Blueface needs to try to work something out, because this debt is major, and it's sad. Like, why would you get into business with him? Because that's the other thing. I spoke about this in another video as well. Blueface is now in partnership with Wack for their Just Content, I believe it's called, or something like that. Just Content Network or something. Blueface is listed on the business license as a partner. So he sucked as a manager, and now you go in as a business partner with him? When they say a hard head makes a soft ass, Blue's booty must be softer than cottonelle, the 4-ply kind. Because that's the kind I use. That shit is soft as hell. Try it. But don't clog your toilet with it, because it will. But anyway, how do you entrust this guy all over again? And have you not noticed that since Blue came out, he was hitting the ground running with all types of ways to try to get money? Yeah, because he needs to survive. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. Set up or not? Because this is a hot ass mess, and there's no way in hell I would ever have a half-ass manager who did a half-ass job and cost me a whole lot of money ever in my presence again. Unless he's in some kind of debt with him that we don't know about. Because we know how Wack like to keep his artists. Dun, dun, dun. That's going to do it for this pour up, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one. Be sure you like the video, and we out.